Well, welcome once again to Kangen Water Nation here on the Kangen Water Health Information Call. As usual, I am Terrence Hope, your enacted Kangen Water 6A distributor, very soon to be 6A2, but have been there about a year ago. That's the story. And I'm happy to be here. Dr. Lisa Singletary is our co-host here on the call, who is now on sabbatical, but she brings her medical information, her medical expertise to the understanding of what we need to know here on the Kangen Water Health. We talk about hydration, nutrition, and detoxification, and all those things that are important to the core of health. So in a few moments, we're going to start our health and information here on Kangen Water Radio, sponsored by Kangen Water Nation. And we're going to bring you everything that you need. We invite your questions. We invite your comments. We invite you who are here with us on Facebook, which you can see there on the other screen, are going to be plentiful day in and day out, and you can see us for that off day. And we're glad to be here every Saturday here on the Kangen Water Health Information Call. We're going to update you today with some new scheduling information, so you know where to find us every week, all throughout the month, and anytime during the week, even all of our Kangen Water presentations. So sit back, buckle your seats, and we're about to get into some brand new content. Stand by here on Kangen Water Nation's Kangen Water Radio. Thank you all for joining us. Please stand by. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here we go. Awesomeness. All right. So once again, welcome back to our Kangen Water Health and Information Call. We're so glad that you all are coming to visit us day in and day out, week in and week out, as we look to bring you this information. We are very glad to have as our regular co-host, Dr. Lisa Singletary on our call. Once again, she's on sabbatical at this time and will join us at some future point. And together we look to bring you what we call the best of both worlds. Why we call it the best of both worlds, I'll tell you in a minute. But hydration, nutrition, and detoxification are the cores of our health and what we need to sustain our bodies, regenerate our bodies, give us what we need for daily sustenance and function. And then we want to pair that with a medical understanding of how the body functions and how the body functions with proper nutrition. There's a core of what we need. Our body is made up of water. It is made up of a need for nutrition. And as long as we are properly hydrated and we can remove toxicity on a regular basis and we can get proper nutrition, the body's going to work properly. And that's the hallmark, the core of what we talk about here on the Kangen Water Health and Information Call. I smile and laugh a lot because I happen to like what I do. And I like being with you all here, every week. Saturday happens to be my favorite day of the week. It has been since I was a child. I grew up in America, and in America, on Saturday mornings, they always provided for the children Saturday morning cartoons. And on those cartoons, you could get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. It's a Saturday, you have a day off from school. You can eat your breakfast cereal. That's an American thing. You could, sit up in bed with your brother and your sisters and sometimes your cousins and all enjoy, your favorite breakfast cereals while watching your favorite cartoons. Well, that became a hallmark in my brain. So now AI knows how I think, right? So, and ever since then, every day Saturday when it shows up, I'm just happy as a lark. Whatever a lark is, by the way, it's a bird. Another story. So, so we're going to be here every Saturday going forward. Normally, our schedule was every Wednesday, and once again, every Saturday throughout the week. So that was twice a week. Once upon a time, we were 5 days a week. And for those who may have been with us on our Kangen Water Health and Information Call prior to that, we were actually 10 times a week. So we were every Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. and again at 8 p.m. That was every day. We did that for about 2 years. Dr. Singletary and I did that for a while ourselves. then we checked it back to every Wednesday and Saturday. So we adjusted the schedule to, probably what we needed to do because we're very busy people as well. And now I'm making one more adjustment, at least for the time being. So those who have been visiting us on Wednesdays as well as Saturdays, now you can visit us on my happiest day of the week. I hope it's yours too. And that's going to be on Saturdays. So this week, Saturday at 1 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. It's going to be 10 a.m. On the West Coast of the United States for our Pacific USA visitors. It's going to be at 6 p.m. right now in the United Kingdom. I'm going to check my time because time has been changing. I make sure I'm in the right time frame. In the United Kingdom, and that it would be 7 p.m. in Nigeria, 10 p.m. in Dubai, and 10:30 p.m. in India. So we have a worldwide audience. We are always very excited to have everyone joining us from so many parts of the planet, and to have a worldwide network here of people who can share information, want to know more about their health, want to make sure they're staying healthy, and really be encouraged to know that when you're trying to do something that's really beneficial and natural for your health, that there are people all around the world doing the same thing. You are not alone. And we want to make sure that you are encouraged, that you're supported, that you get the information that you need, and that we can all be healthy and happy. So today, we've got a new topic. It's a subject matter that I have covered many times in the past, but is something that many people are not aware of. So we're going to bring that to your attention as we go forward today here on the Kangen Water Health and Information Call. So, wow. What's our subject today? Our subject today is your tap water is toxic. Your tap water is toxic. So whether you live in the United Kingdom, throughout England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, the United States, coast to coast, Canada, of course, different countries have different types of water issues. Dubai, many of the countries in the middle, in the Arab countries deal with more salinated water, salty water, and that's a major issue for them. Pre-filters are important. And it's also another reason why the Kangen water machines always come with filters inside the unit. So these are 3 examples of our primary Kangen water machines. On our far left, my left, we have the Kangen Water 8 machine, known as the Kangen 8 or the Kangen or the K8. This is the Platinum SD501, and this is the original brand of the SD501. Inside of our units, there are 2 chambers. I'm going to use the Platinum as an example. This side of the unit that I'm pointing to right now, there's a high-grade filter. That filter is designed to remove contaminants. It is an active carbon filter. Active carbon tends to draw on contaminants in your tap water, whether it be organic compounds, toxic substances, various types of chemicals, sediments, particulates. Chlorine is what the filter is noted for, as well as lead removal from your tap. However, with an active carbon filter, you're actually going to attract a lot more contaminants than just that, and you're going to purify your water. It is very important that the Kangen water machines be purified, that there be no contaminants in it, and that it be pH balanced. Our Kangen water machines, as electrolyzed reduced water systems, require a pH neutral, toxic-free water to run through it in order for it to function properly. If the water is heavy on chlorine or other chemicals, it cannot produce the Kangen water you're looking for, or what we call electrolyzed reduced water in science. If the water is pH off balance, for example, if the water is too alkaline or if the water is too acidic, the machines won't be able to produce the necessary electrolyzed reduced water that gives you the antioxidant water that our machines have become famous for. So the high-grade filters that are in the Kangen water machines draw on a great number of contaminants. Now, they have been noted to remove chlorine. The filters inside the machines have been also noted to remove lead. And those are the only two things that they're labeled for by Imagine. But once again, you have to understand it is an active carbon filter. And active carbon filters remove a lot more than just two substances. Yeah, there's a reason why they attract fluorine. There's a reason why it attracts lead. And there's a number of other contaminants that will be drawn on it as well. If the filter wasn't functional to give you the purified water that you need, the machine actually would not be able to produce the electrolyzed reduced water you're looking for. So it is known as an high grade filter. Some of your filters actually have labels that say HGMO. Some of them say HG with a different, code number on it, which means high grade. Yeah. So it's a highly functional purifying filter. And then the second chamber in the machine, what we're going to talk about later on, is the electrolysis chamber. The electrolysis chamber is where electricity is hitting water directly and converting the water into an antioxidant substance. Yeah. So just a little summary background on the filters inside the machine, what they're designed for, what they do as far as purifying the water that's coming through your Kangen water machine. Yeah. And then, of course, we also have the electrolysis chamber that produces an antioxidant water when electricity hits the water directly. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. So today we're going to focus on tap water because many of us might not know the reason for the season. Kangen water is an antioxidant water. Yes, that is true. And overall, what is so vitally important in this world today? We have to purify our water. Once we purify it, it becomes an excellent water for drinking and cooking. Once we convert it to an antioxidant water inside of our electrolyte reduced water, it then becomes ideal for removing toxic buildup that may have occurred over a course of a lifetime for us. And now we have an ideal water for all purposes. Yes? Yes. Yeah? So let's begin today at the beginning, talking about our toxic waters throughout the world. Okay, so we're going to take a look at an article. And this article I have highlighted many times before. In recent years, people may not have seen me. Whoops, let me see something. Stop sharing and start sharing again. And click share all. And we're back. Awesomeness, claps that. So this is an article I want to highlight today. Make sure you can see it. Make sure it's on Facebook Live. Make sure everyone is tuning in. Family and friends, come on board. Oh, by the way, happy Thanksgiving weekend. I hope you all enjoyed your weekend. Not the best time for the turkeys, but because guys, they're giving us dominion over all the animals on the planet, right? So, so happy Thanksgiving to everyone who was able to get together with family and friends, reflect on those things that were best for life and happiness and fun and orderliness in our lives, and really get those time together with those who are so important to us in sometimes the core of our lives. Yeah. So let's talk about your water. That's right. I'm going to talk about your water. I'm going to talk about mine too. There's a reason why I got myself a Kangen water machine. There's a reason why we all need to filter our water. So this is an article I'm going to highlight today that came out of the New York Times. This is a New York Times article that was published, I believe, in December of 2009. We're now in 2021. So this is some time ago. And this article talked about our tap water. Now, it reflected specifically on the US tap water system, but that reflection copies over to other countries around the world because everyone has major tap water issues. In England, the major tap water issue is chlorine. They have an extraordinarily high level of chlorine in their water because of the way their water is processed and what is being used for their tap water. It's a pretty unhealthy situation as it is in the United States. In the United States, we have a great deal of chemicals in our tap water. And those chemicals can become toxic and dangerous for us. So the New York Times published an article that talked about the adventures of a water purification expert that came out of California. He was in charge of water purification in South America. He had a 20-year career down there where bacteria was a major issue in the tap water. And that bacteria, of course, had to be cleaned out in every way possible. Then coming back to the United States after his retirement, he began to notice that there were issues in the US tap water system in California that he otherwise wasn't aware of maybe 20 years prior. You know, we are in the United States, we are in the United Kingdom, we are in, many industrialized countries that are said to have the most modernized water systems, the most modernized infrastructures, the most modernized sense of civilization in the past, thousands of years. And we expect in these cases that we are doing well at every level, and at the same time, we're not being hampered in any way. That concept can lull us into a false sense of security and comfort, where we become unaware of what's around us all the time, and everything is not as we would hope in our glittering cities and in our shining countries. Yeah. So we're going to highlight that right here and watch what we see. This article that says that tap water is legal, but may be unhealthy. Tap water is legal, but may be unhealthy. New York Times, December 16th, 2009. I'm going to read a little bit for you. So the article begins here. The writer was Charles Duhigg. So it says, the 35-year-old federal law regulating tap water is so out of date that the water Americans drink can pose what scientists say are serious health risks and still be legal. So scientists say the water can pose serious health risks and still be legal. Why is that? So as of 2009, only 91 contaminants were regulated by the Safe Drinking Water Act. Yet more than 60,000 chemicals are used within the United States. According to Environmental Protection Agency's estimates, government and independent scientists have scrutinized thousands of those chemicals in recent decades and identified hundreds associated with the risk of cancer and other diseases, even at small concentrations in drinking water. And this is according to an analysis by the government records that were reviewed by the New York Times. But it goes on to say that, but not one chemical of these 60,000 that are considered to be hazardous has been added to the list of those regulated by the Safe Drinking Water Act since 2000. So what we're talking about is there are chemicals in our tap water. And there are chemicals in our tap water. And those chemicals are screened out by the municipal purification centers in your county, and they have to be removed by law. If they're not removed, it's illegal for them to be getting to your tap. But now there's only 91 being removed. As it says here, only 91 contaminants are regulated by the Safe Drinking Water Act. Yet more than 60,000 chemicals are actually used within the United States and are in our water. We're talking about, let's just say 60,000 chemicals that are getting to us, that have access to us, and that can cause health problems. Yeah. So the article goes on to say, but not one chemical has been added to the list of those regulated by the Safe Drinking Water Act. Other recent studies have found that even some chemicals regulated by the law pose risks at much smaller concentrations than previously known. However, many of the Act standards for those chemicals have not been updated since the 1980s, and some remain essentially unchanged since 1974. All told, more than 62 million Americans, I say more than that, we have about a population of 320 million. And if it's in our tap water, guess what? Everyone is exposed, period. I'll show you why. All told, more than, they say 62 million, I'll say 320 million Americans have been exposed since 2004 to drinking water that did not meet at least one commonly used government health guideline intended to help protect people from cancer or serious disease, according to an analysis by the New York Times of more than 19 million drinking water test results from the District of Columbia, which is Washington, D.C., and the 45 states that made data available. In some cases, people have been exposed to tap water for years that has been toxic and unhealthy. So in some cases, people have been exposed for years to water that did not meet those guidelines. But because such guidelines were never incorporated into the Safe Drinking Water Act, the vast majority of that water never violated the law. So what we're talking about is, unless lawmakers say that a chemical is dangerous for your body, then by law, it is not considered to be, well, at least illegal to be there. That doesn't mean that it's not toxic. Yeah, that just means that there's no law saying that it's illegal. So chemicals can be in your tap water and be unhealthy, while there's no law blocking or guarding the American people or the countries of different people of different countries from the dangers in their tap water. Yeah. So, but because such guidelines were never incorporated into the Safe Drinking Water Act, the vast majority of water never violated the law. Some officials overseeing local water systems have tried to go above and beyond what is legally required, but they have encountered resistance, sometimes from the very residents that they are trying to protect, who say that if their water is legal, it must be safe. So they don't want to spend more money to get the water more purified, right? There's a gentleman whose name is Dr. Pankaj Parekh. He was director of the Water Quality Division for the city of Los Angeles. And he faced such criticism as he tried to make water more pure for California. The water in some city reservoirs has contained contaminants that become likely cancer-causing compounds when exposed to sunlight. I'm gonna show you something. This is an image. Hopefully that's showing up nice and large. And why is my text looking so blurry on Facebook? Is my text looking blurry to everyone else? Well, I'll have to figure out what that is and make an adjustment. But right now I'm going to show you an image. And what you're looking at here is something that occurred back in 2016, 2009, where it was discovered that there were chemicals in the reservoir in a certain city in California. And the chemicals that were in that water feeding that town would become cancerous when sunlight hit the water. The chemicals that were in the tap water will become cancerous when sunlight hit the water. Yeah. And that was a problem. So their answer to this was to add these, what you see here, these are black plastic balls. And they thought, well, if they can block the sunlight from hitting the water, then perhaps the chemical won't become cancerous and the water will be safe. Of course, what you don't take into mind when you do something as outrageous as this is that the plastic balls that you're pouring over the surface of the water in order to block the sunlight from hitting it are made by chemicals. And by soaking in water in the hot sun, those chemicals will leach off into the water. So now you create a whole new toxic substance in your tap water, and in this case, in the reservoir. But think back also that if someone is pouring water here and sunlight interacts with it and it becomes cancer causing, what if our family and friends take a glass of a pitcher of water and sit it out on the porch in the hot sun while we're enjoying our family and friends? Well, that's going to come in contact with the sunlight. And how often will water come in contact with sunlight? It can happen very often. So the concept of blocking the sun from the water was, I don't think, the wisest decision to do. Here it says in the caption, which you cannot see because it's blurry. I know this now. This Los Angeles reservoir contained chemicals that sunlight converted to compounds associated with cancer. The city used plastic balls to block the sun, but nearby homeowners asked why the water didn't violate the law. So let's stop that view for a second. So we've got chemicals in our tap water, and the chemicals in our tap water can lodge within our bodies. And the long-term effect of having chemicals lodge within your bodies can cause a toxic buildup that can cause a pH imbalance. Yeah. So that pH imbalance can lead to a dysfunction of the organs of the body. And that dysfunction of the organs of the body can very easily lead to a health risk, for the body. So we have to understand the problem with core tap water and the core reason why we all need to get some sort of filtration going on inside of our water system. Now I'm going to show you a couple of things. Stand by 1 second. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of things. Stand by 1 second while I show you something brand new. Because we're going to take another look at this article. See, this article that talks about tap water, whether you're in Nigeria, whether you're in the United States, whether you're in Pakistan, whether you're in Dubai, whether you're in England, Wales, Scotland, the tap water is a real issue. We all have to have some sort of filtration going on. The Kangen water machines add for us an antioxidant aspect of our tap water use, but the core, there has to be some sort of filtration going on for everyone in the world. Now watch this as I continue with this article, because there's something I want to show you. Now I understand that it's coming out a little blurry, so I'm going to make sure I'm going to read it to you. And 1 second, share my screen one more time. As for not as it seems to be, but I want to make an effort anyway. Don't worry about it. So I'm back at the article once again. I'm sharing that. I'm going to scroll down here. And some things what I might do, since I don't know if you can read it as well. Okay, it seems to be showing up better this time for some reason, which is a good thing. I'm going to read another section because there are things going on in our tap water that the average person is not aware of. And it's causing health problems that people may not even have ever thought really possible. And I'm gonna show you why. So I'm scrolling to a particular section here. Let's see if I can look down a little further. So now, as I'm getting to the text I want to highlight for you, here's what's going on. The science review of our tap water showed that there were cancer-causing chemicals in our tap water, and that these cancer-causing chemicals, even at low concentrations, were having health risks for people using it. Yeah. So now I'm going to read a section here that might start right about here. So now what happens is, you will drink your tap water. Maybe you won't. Many people these days have tuned themselves into drinking bottled waters, which we'll talk about another time. Yeah. So they'll say, oh, well, I don't really drink my tap water. I drink bottled water. We know there are chemical problems with bottled water. But watch a couple of things that people never get past. If you don't drink your tap water, I guarantee you that you've been cooking with it over the past 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, however long you've been here. Now, when we cook with our tap water, the thought that goes on in our minds, and it certainly went on in my mind, is that while I'm cooking with it, I'm boiling it, I'm burning something, right? If there's any problem in it, boiling is going to eliminate the problem. This may, in fact, be the case if we look at the bacteria that might be in the water. That we might kill away, right? But if we say there are over 60,000 different chemical contaminants in water, you cannot boil out chemicals, yeah? Many of these chemicals will, in fact, absorb into your food. And now you'll sit down with your family to a nice meal and do a prayer over it, not knowing that that food is now chemically contaminated because all the chemicals that are in your tap water that you cooked with without a filter, without a Kangen water machine, got into the food. And now they're in your chicken, your fish, your meat, your rice, your vegetables, your salad. You washed your salad and fruits and vegetables, trying to rinse them off coming from the store. They're filled with the chemicals that you rinse them with. So you brushed your teeth, you took a shower. Our Enagic company actually makes a shower system called Anespa, and the Anespa system filters out chemicals and then ionizes the water with minerals. One can put some sort of filter on the actual tap in the sink, so you're not brushing with chemically filled tap water. And of course, you can put a Kangen water machine in your kitchen so that you are cooking with purified water that's also ionized and able for detoxing the body and making your food more nutrient rich. So, well, look at the article. Look what's happening here. Accumulating threats, it says. It says that the Safe Drinking Water Act was passed in 1974 after tests discovered carcinogens, that means cancer-causing chemicals, lead, and dangerous bacteria flowing from faucets in New Orleans, Pittsburgh, and Boston, and elsewhere. It was going on all over the country. At the time, so little was known about the chemicals in American waters that the law required local systems to monitor only 20 substances. Private wells were not included in this act. Over the next 2 decades, that means 1984, 1994, researchers at the Environmental Protection Agency began testing hundreds of chemicals, and Congress passed amendments strengthening the act. Eventually, the list of regulated substances increased to 91. In 2000, the list of chemicals that were dangerous for your health in tap water stopped growing. That means no one added any more list of chemicals to that tap water chemical toxic issue list. Since then, the rate at which companies and other workplaces have dumped pollutants into lakes, rivers has significantly accelerated. According to an earlier analysis by the Times of the Clean Water Act, government scientists have evaluated 830 of the contaminants most often found in water supplies. According to a review of records from the Environmental Protection Agency and the United States Geological Survey, they have determined that many of them are associated with cancer or other diseases, even at small concentrations. This means that even at small concentrations of what might be a toxic chemical in your water, it's still very, very toxic. Well, I'll go on. Yet, almost none of these assessments have been incorporated into the Safe Drinking Water Act or other federal laws. Now, for instance, the drinking water standard for arsenic, a naturally occurring chemical used in semiconductor manufacturing and treated wood, is at a level where a community could drink perfectly legal water, and roughly 1 in every 600 residents would likely develop bladder cancer over their lifetimes. According to studies commissioned by the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, and analyzed by the Times, New York Times, many of those studies can be found in the resource section of the New York Times/water. I'll leave a link in the chat so you all can copy that and take your time to review these articles and science reviews of the chemical issues of our water. That level of exposure of a chemical is roughly equivalent to the risk the community would face if every person received 1,664 x-rays. And in some places, tap water contains not just one contaminant, but dozens. More than half of the systems analyzed by the New York Times had at least 7 chemicals in their water. But there is nothing in the law that addresses the cumulative risks of multiple pollutants and a single glass of water, as some public health advocates have urged. So one might say, well, if it's only 1 part per billion of this chemical in your tap water, well, your tap water is still safe. It's not that bad, you'll be okay. But what about the cumulative effect? What about the fact that chemicals accumulate within the cells? And that can occur over a lifetime. So from childhood to 20 years old, from 20 years old to 40, from 40 years old to 60 and more, there's an accumulation of chemicals in your body. So when we look at what the article says back here, that what did it say here? It said roughly 1 in every 600 residents would likely develop bladder cancer over their lifetimes, based upon just this one particular study of arsenic in their water. What about the other 60,000? And the effects all those chemicals have in people's bodies, right? So then, we go forward and we see here that they speak specifically to that. What did I say? I said, because some of the diseases associated with technical. Right. So in a statement, the EPA said that 2003, let me just cut to the skinny. Another review of drinking water standards is underway and results will be released soon, the agency says. Because some of the diseases associated with drinking water contamination take so long to emerge, people who become ill from their tap water might never realize that it's their tap water. And a public health expert said, people who become ill from their tap water might not never realize that it's the source. So, people may have bladder cancer. People may have various types of cancers. People may have, whatever might be going on, chronic illness, toxic diseases. They might have migraines, headaches, different issues going on in the system. Yeah. And never know what the actual source of that is. They may consider that it's coming from someplace else. But what if it's your tap water? What if it's something from your everyday use? What is something that you would never imagine that's in your home that you thought was perfectly safe? Then you go to the doctor and they try to give you a diagnosis and they say, well, this is going on in the country and we just don't know where it's coming from. We just have no idea. But we're going to try to treat it with this based on what we think we might know about it. If you don't know the source, you cannot respond to the issue. And the people are still going to be exposed. And if someone's trying to heal me on this side, but the thing that's causing my health problem is still coming this way, at some point, someone's going to lose this battle. And this is an unlimited supply of toxicity. Then what treatment is going to actually be able to answer that? Yeah. So many things we need to know about our tap water was what I want to speak about today. And answers that we need to that need to respond with that, have been found in ways of detoxifying the body. Let's see now. I'm sorry, I want to check one more thing here. So the article, and I'm kind of sticking on the article today, just because it's so important to know even why many of us have ended up with these Kangen water machines, and the reasons for, our constant use of them. Yeah. Check my visibility, looks pretty good. So there are many types of chemicals that can access your body from the tap water. And some of these studies that are highlighted in this New York Times articles, I know sometimes it's not showing properly, stop sharing. Some of these items that have been highlighted from these New York Times articles are showing that there was an ability to track different types of diseases based upon what was in the tap water. If there was uranium in the tap water, then one can devise that this percentage of the population exposed to that uranium-filled tap water would have certain kind of diseases. If there was this chemical, there could be this disease. If that chemical, there could be that disease. And you begin to track it on a 1-to-1 ratio. That as a community deals with certain health issues, it's coming from the water. So our water could be a very dangerous place for us in our communities, and people might never know. These, as I've been highlighting in the article here, have been highlighted by the New York Times and the Science Environmental Protection Agency that have shown these to be exactly true. So we need to be aware of these things. I was looking for one more section that specifically talked about that. But once we're aware of this, then we want to take certain actions to address it. We want to be proactive. We want to protect ourselves. And I'll say this: there needs to be more done to protect our populations from chemical contamination coming from our tap water. Now, if our municipal water purification companies or organizations were doing the number one job they could in a most ideal situation, there's still sometimes 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 miles of pipe that your water has to go through that cannot be changed every year, every month, every day. So if water purification at our municipal sites is ideal and the water has to go through 100 miles of pipe, then it arrives at your house. How old is your house? Are you living in an apartment building? How old is that apartment building? How often have the pipes of those buildings been changed? We cannot change pipes in city streets, throughout the state, and in the buildings on a regular basis. So water can still be contaminated anywhere along that pipeline. So what do we have to do? We have to make sure we have some sort of purification system in our house, in our homes, because at the most ideal situation, there are still chemicals and contaminants that can get to your tap water. In the non-ideal situation, which we've highlighted today from the New York Times, there will always be chemicals present until they address that at a higher level, right? So the Kangen water machines. I'll just do a brief summary and I'm going to take your questions. I know in my calls, I begin to notice that I take a lot more time than in our other calls, yeah? And just talk about Kangen water and the machines very briefly, because I've gotten to the 45-minute point of our call, and I want to make sure that you all get all the information you need to understand the water. So, Kangen water. Today we talked about our tap water being toxic and the need for removing chemical toxicity from our water. We're going to look at the Kangen water machines and what they do. The Kangen water machines are electrolyzed reduced water systems. Electrolyzed reduced water systems. In science, our Kangen water is known as electrolyzed reduced water. The process of electricity hitting water is known as electrolysis, and the outcome is an antioxidant water. Our water systems produce antioxidant water. Yeah. This is an example of a few of our Kangen water machines that I showed earlier. They remove chemicals from your tap water in the first stage of their filtration system. They convert your water to an antioxidant water by hitting water with electricity. When we hit water with electricity, we convert it to an antioxidant substance. If you want to know what Kangen water is as a substance and its benefits, you want to look up the science term referring to what Kangen water is. Kangen water in science is referred to as electrolyzed reduced water. Electrolyzed reduced water. That is the science term that you look up to understand what benefits of antioxidant and pH balancing and that goes on in the body when you remove toxicity. So that heading will bring you a score of different results. Look that up. Look up the issue you're looking to address with an electrolyzed reduced water and see what benefits you might have by drinking that water and even getting one of our machines. Here at Kangen Water, we are not allowed to make any medical claims about our water and what it does. The science of our water, however, is electrolyzed reduced water. And under that heading, you can find a great deal of information of the science done on its benefits. What's happening in the Kangen water machines? In the Kangen water machines, we are hitting water with electricity. And when you hit water with electricity, it causes the water to convert to an antioxidant substance. So here's a nice little model. I put together. Here's tap water, H2O. Here is lightning, electricity. I'll give an example of lightning. Now, when you hit water with electricity, it causes the water to break down to its molecular parts. Water is H2O. Here's H2 and here's the O. It's going to break down and convert to this model here. We're going to have OH and H. This is H2O divided into 2 seconds. The OH molecule is an alkaline molecule, and we use it as a measuring tool of the overall volume of antioxidant substances available in the water. So note that Kangen water is an antioxidant water measured by the presence of alkaline ions in the water at a time. We're going to say that the more antioxidant ions we have, alkaline ions we have, the greater the number of antioxidant molecular structures we have at the same time. So if my pH is higher with electrically processed water, my detox is going to be stronger. If my pH is lower with an electrically processed water, my detox is going to be mild, simply put, okay? So just a little summary I wanted to go over. And just as I always like to remind people, our body is not alkaline. As people keep saying, our body has alkalinity and acidity, and we need both alkaline and acidity to be healthy. Some of our organs are acidic, some of our organs are alkaline. The body regulates that on its own, and however, has a more difficult time to do that if our bodies are highly toxic. Kangen water is an antioxidant water. It removes toxicity. And when you can remove toxicity, your body is better able to maintain its pH balance. So the organs that are alkaline can stay alkaline, the organs that are acidic can stay acidic, and you can remain healthy. Remember, when we look at alkalinity and acidity, we're saying that there's a scale of power of hydrogen, or pH, where the higher the number on the scale, the more alkaline, the lower the number on the scale, more acidic. 7 is in the middle and it's neutral. So anything above a 7 on the scale is considered to be alkaline. Anything below a 7 on the scale is considered to be acidic. Some organs are on the acidic range, some organs are on the alkaline range, and your body regulates that on its own. You don't have to eat an alkaline food to be alkaline. You don't have to eat an acidic food to be acidic. Your body knows how to maintain the pH of all the different organs on its own. You just give it what it needs in terms of nutrition, hydration, and detoxification, and it will do that. When it comes to detoxification, Kangen water is ideal at removing toxicity, so your body is more able and more free to maintain its own internal pH. Your body becomes highly toxic with all the junk foods that we've been ingesting all of our lives, from the fast foods like McDonald's, to the junk foods like candies, to the various substances that become gluten-filled and become toxic on the body. That becomes a high toxic standard in the body that has to be removed. Once that toxin is removed, your body is better able to maintain its own pH balance and therefore stay healthy. Yeah, watch out for sodas. They tend to be very highly inorganic acid substances, and they cause your pH of the body to go offline. If you're eating an acidic substances, that substance that is organic, like an orange or grapefruit or tomato, your body can take the acidic organic food and convert that to energy very easily. The same thing with alkaline foods. If it's alkaline and organic, your body can convert it to energy like apples or green leafy vegetables. But if the substance is not organic, like soda, it's an inorganic acid, it's going to cause a pH imbalance. You're not going to drink battery acid, are you? No, you're not. You shouldn't be drinking acid known as soda. Very bad for your body. pH imbalances cause dysfunction in the organs that can lead to chronic illnesses and long-term use. Very simply put. So I've gone over a great deal of data today on the toxicity of our tap water. I wanted to make sure I went over today a summary of what our Kangen water is in relation to detoxifying ourselves from toxic tap waters. And I leave you with that information today. It's very important for us to realize the toxic issues going on with our tap water and the importance of eliminating that toxicity so our body can stay healthy. If we're aware of where the toxins are coming from, we can make more of an effort to remove that toxicity. Yeah. So as I pointed out earlier, the body is self-regulating. Toxins hamper that self-regulating process. As I also showed you earlier, that there are contaminants in our tap water system that can cause pH imbalances, that could cause cancer. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, there are issues going on in our body that have to be noted that are coming from sources we're not aware of. What is the problem with your cell phone? Can that cause problems in your body? What is the problem with something innocuous, so innocuous as water? So we need to be aware of these things. We need to guard ourselves. And I'm just looking at something that I want to show you as I exit. And we need to take action to protect ourselves. And this is where the Kangen water machines come into play. Let me just read one other section that I'm reading that I found here as I exit. It says here in our article from the New York Times that they were talking about a place called Maywood. And they found that there were a lot of issues going on in that community. And I'll begin at this part here. The effects of pollution are clear throughout the Los Angeles area. In Santa Monica, officials have shut wells contaminated by gasoline additive that is not regulated by the Safe Drinking Water Act. In Pomona, a college town to the east, water supplies contain chemicals dumped by manufacturing and agricultural companies. And in the county known as Maywood, a city of 30,000, just southeast of downtown Los Angeles, tap water is often brown and tastes bitter. Many people don't own white clothing because they complain it becomes stained when it is washed. Imagine changing your color choices of clothing because your tap water is staining them. Last month, a person named Carlos Husman drew a bath of water for his 4-month-old granddaughter that was filled with what looked like particles of rust and dirt, staining the sides of the bathtub. Maywood is only 1 square mile, but has 3 water systems. All are privately owned. So local officials have no real power except forcing them to follow federal and state regulations. About 3/4 of the nation's water systems are private entities beholden only to their own shareholders and the law. Laboratory tests show that in that 30,000 population city of Maywood, tap water has contained toxic levels of mercury, lead, manganese, and other chemicals that have been associated with liver and kidney damage, neurological diseases, or cancer. But when Maywood's residents asked for cleaner water, they were told what was flowing from the tap satisfied the Safe Drinking Water Act and was legal. Indeed, some of the chemicals in this study, like manganese, which has been associated with Parkinson's disease, are essentially unregulated. And so the water system isn't required to remove them, even when particles float in a glass. So just noting a couple of diseases they pointed out. Parkinson's disease associated with manganese, mercury, lead, manganese, and other chemicals that have been associated with liver, kidney damage, neurological diseases, and cancers. So the article is pointing out there are different chemicals in our tap water that can lead to major chronic illnesses. People are getting Parkinson's disease. People get cancers. People get neurological disorders. And all the while, they go to a doctor and someone's got to say, well, we don't understand what that's happening. We don't understand where the disease is coming from. We'll treat it with this, that, and the other. We know where it's coming from if it's in an article that was on the cover of the New York Times and that science studies have shown this to be. What we need to do is have this kind of information more available to the general public so they understand that their tap water is just not so and so, dirty to some degree, that it is disease causing to the tune of Parkinson's, cancers, neurological disorders, right? With our electrolyte reduced water, we hope to remove toxicity, even that it's been accumulated in your lifetime by eating foods cooked in tap water, drinking tap water, bathing in tap water, so that we can protect ourselves in our home. No matter how well the water is purified at a purification site, like a municipal water system purification site, it still has to go through hundreds of miles of pipes to get to your home and travel through pipes in the house that may have been there for, who knows, 20, 30, 50 years or more. And so there'll always be an issue. So if you have a Kangen water machine at your tap, you have a system that removes chemical contaminants and provides an antioxidant. You can get our Nespa shower system for your shower and bath. So you have a purified water in your bath and an antioxidant water for your shower and bath bathing. You can put some sort of filter on the tip of your faucet in your bathroom sink. So when your children brush their teeth, they're not getting chemicals in their body. Yeah. So I'm going to pause there. I'm going to give a little extra time because I know I have gone long. And I wanted to make sure I gave a lot of information that people can understand where the chemical contamination is coming into their bodies, where many times diseases are occurring within the body, and what answers you can use to address the issue and keep you and your family and your friends healthy. So I've just opened the lines that we can take questions right now from our audience. I see we are live from the UK to Africa. I see on Facebook, some people have been sending me some notes. I can't read them from here. I'll bring it a little closer next time so I can see it, to see what you have to say, and respond to that as well. But if you are on Zoom with us, you can just raise your hand. There's a place on the Zoom platform that says reactions. On that reactions, you can hit something that says raise hand. And raise your hand, I'll see your hand is raised. I'll unmute you and bring you into the call. I've also enabled you to unmute yourself. So if you got something, kind of jump in here, we can get you started with your question as well, with your comment. We enjoy those who come in from all over the world with your questions. It really brings the whole world community together so we can see we're all here together. We're all here trying to understand what's better for our health, and we're all trying to take strides in addressing that and finding those answers that will benefit us all. So if you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. I'll see your hand is raised, and I'll bring you into the call, and you can make your comments. Remember, when you have a question and you ask that question on our call, it really edifies the call. You may ask a question that I may not have thought of, and in doing so, I can now address something from a different angle that teaches you, gives you the information you're looking for, and teaches others on the call more about what they need for their health. So I see someone is on an iPhone somewhere in the world, not sure where you are. I've clicked your button there, and you are now able to unmute. So if you can see on your own device where it says mute or unmute, where it looks like there's a microphone, go ahead and unmute that, bring you to the call. I'll take your question. Okay, you're unmuted. Welcome to the Kangen Water Health Information Call here on Kangen Water Radio. What's your question today?
Hi, thank you. I'm from the US. My question is, why you just say something? I heard you say you can connect the Kangen machine to your tap water, your bathroom, how do you connect from the central points in the house? Because I know it's very good. I've heard about it, but I wasn't sure that you can connect it all over the water points in the house. How do you do that?
Right, good question. Good question. And thank you for your call from the United States. Are you on the East Coast or West Coast?
The West Coast.
All right, welcome from the Northwest, from the West Coast. Now, the Kangen water machines, or Enagic, produces different units. The unit itself does not go throughout the house, but where am I looking here? Okay, good. Does not go throughout the house. But what I was saying is we have one machine, of course, that is we put in our sinks most often, in our kitchens. Some people actually put them in their bathrooms, but they're in our kitchens. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in 1 second. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Here we go. And so the Kangen water machine, as you know, is a local system. It sits at the countertop and connects directly to what tap you want to connect it to. Now, what I was saying is that we have a shower system and a bath system that can be connected into your bath. And the Nespa is directly connected to to the pipe of your shower head. You take off the shower head, you put the Nespa pipe on, and then you can route water through the Nespa shower and bath system for your shower and bathing. And then I was recommending that one can even put any kind of filter on the tip of your sink faucet. So as you and your children are brushing your teeth, you're not getting chemicals there. So I was actually noting a number of different types of devices. One would be a Kangen water machine that one would have, of course, in your kitchen. Some people actually also put it in their bathroom. Sometimes they do that at the bathroom sink. Another type of machine that we would have, you know, on the countertop to cook with. Of course, that's your main Kangen water machine, and we all know about those for purifying and, you know, drinking water and using it for cooking. That makes the food more nutrient rich. And then, of course, I was highlighting as well the Anespa, which is our shower system, and that Anespa, you know, connects in the shower, used for shower water and bathing water simultaneously, and that would then prevent a lot of chemical contaminants coming into your body from that source. So not a main line of water with the Kangen throughout the house, but different local systems being connected. As yet, the electrolysis water systems have not been placed into the main water system in the house. The issue, I don't know, could be the distance it has to travel to get to a pipe. It would still be antioxidant and flow on that distance, I imagine, to some degree. But right now they've been designed for localized use at the actual sink site. So whether that's the shower, the kitchen sink, or the bathroom sink, if you were to put it there, or a wet bar. Yeah. Does that answer your question so far?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. So it's a really good question. And once again, that was a good opportunity for us to really talk about our shower system, which most of us, I'm very sure you probably never heard me talk about the shower system. I actually own one. So I have an Anespa. I actually gave it to my mother right now so she can use it, keep her skin healthy. Great to be able to remove chemical toxicity that's coming in from our tap water from the many sources throughout our house. Yeah. And there are many different tools we can use for that. Of course, we've got the Kangen water machines, and we have the Anespa shower systems. The Anespa shower systems are probably just a little bit different in that they don't use electricity like electrolysis, as is in the case with our water systems. Instead, they have minerals in them, special types of minerals that when heated produce antioxidant, ions. Jade stones are good examples of stones that are, when heated, produce, ions that are antioxidant. The various minerals that they have in the Anespa shower system are as well antioxidant when heated. And probably clever, I don't know, they're not using, now electrolyzed reduced water, which what we have in our Kangen water machines, is temperature sensitive. So you couldn't heat Kangen water and shower with it because the heat would disrupt the electrolysis process and remove the antioxidant ions. So you'd have to use minerals. And as long as you're using minerals for external use, highly beneficial. You wouldn't drink your Anespa water because that would be a high mineral content that could be very alkaline. That could also cause your water, if you drink it, to become, because your body could become very alkaline from minerals from Anespa. So you never drink Anespa shower water. That's only for showering and bathing. It's a mineralized water. It's antioxidant externally. For drinking water, always use the Kangen water machines. However, the Anespa shower system is great for your bathing and shower purposes. Yeah. So that answers that question. So we learned today that tap water was toxic. We saw that there are science reviews from the Environmental Protection Agency that have been published by the New York Times that show clearly that there's a huge issue. And this goes on around the United States. This goes on throughout the United Kingdom. It can go on also in Africa. Africa has different issues. So we always want to make sure we're using our filter and our machines, keeping them up to date. There are pre-filters we could also use that can remove more contaminants. There are many pre-filters we have to use in Dubai on a regular basis because Dubai has more saltwater content in their tap. There are pre-filters that are used throughout Africa because oftentimes there is well water, what they call borehole water. That's more acidic, and that's to be balanced off with a pre-filter that handles acidity. But in all cases, it can be handled. We can convert our water into a purified water and an antioxidant water, and have what we need for our health benefits. Before I exit, I'm just going to ask one more time if there's anyone who's got questions or comments. If you do, you can once again raise your hand. There's a little reaction bar in your Zoom link that will let me see that you got your hand up and you have a question. I've just raised my hand so you can see it as raised, and I can take your question and do my best to answer that. And be happy to do that. Let me double check my other screen as I, whoops. I see another question showed up. Stand by 1 second. Always glad to see questions on our board. Stand by 1 second. I lower my hand and ask you to unmute. So hi, person out there with your hand raised, you're now unmuted. Go let me know where you're calling from and I'll take your question.
I am calling from the United States. I want to know how I can get the machine.
Sure. So do you not have a Kangen water machine already at all?
No, I don't.
Okay, I can process an order for you for your Kangen water machine, and you can simply contact me today. Let me see something here. You can reach me at 866-526-4368 right after the call. That is 866-526-4368. I'm going to leave it here in the message, and I can process an order for you and show you the options on the purchase. I'm typing right now with my information so everyone can actually copy and paste it. 68 Kangen Water Nation. And stand by 1 second. I'm going to leave also our link that you can see the machines as well. Oops, there we go. Where are we? Where's the Zoom? Where's the Zoom? Zoom. There you are. Okie dokie. I'm going to put our link here as well. You can give me a call right after the call there. And can I ask your first name? Oh, I can't hear her now. But if I can ask your first name, just so I know when you call. But you can just remind me that you were on the call today, and I'll take care of that. So you can reach me at this phone number, and I'll be happy to help. If you have an email address, you can also post that to me directly on the Kangen Water chat here on the call. I'm going to put my email address here directly, so you have that. And let's see. There you are. And you can also provide me your name right here. Second, I can provide it for you. And you can respond directly. I'll have it right in the chat so I can call you right after the call as well. Go ahead and respond to my chat here. I want to see your information. And I'll go ahead and also give you a direct message there. You can reach me on. So put your name, your email address, phone number. I'll give you a call right after the call and help you with that. And okay, I see you. All right, there you are. All right, and just put your phone number there, email address. I'm going right after the call. Happy to help you with your Kangen water machine. So, closing the call today. So very glad to have you. I see someone else has unmuted themselves, and they might have a question. Looks like the name is Dale. Dale, you out there with a question?
Yes, can you hear me now, Terrence?
I can hear you perfectly, yes.
One thing I might mention, if you mentioned this, I missed it. One reason that this machine is designed to hook to a particular faucet of your choice, or of our choice, rather than being a whole house device, is this water is so unique, hydrogen-rich, oxygenated, ionized, alkalized, etc. You would not be wanting to, shall I say, waste that water or be wasting your filter running this water through the toilet flush or through an outside hose or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Whereas you wouldn't necessarily need it for washing dishes. You certainly wouldn't need it necessarily for toilet water. And so it's directed specifically for your drinking water and cooking needs, or even your shower needs, as the Anespa will allow you to do. Then you can have that water in a specific, utilized, fashion. So I can see that. I can see that as well. Yeah. So good concept there, Dale. And I guess it also allows you to control whether it's being interfaced with any hot water. But temperature affects the electrolyte reduced water. So if your water becomes heated, while that's excellent during a cooking process, prior to cooking, the water temperature when the water is soaking before heated, it becomes nutritionally beneficial. But if it's heated, it also loses its antioxidant benefit. The molecular structure is broken down. So it's no longer antioxidant when you heat it, and it's no longer antioxidant when it is frozen. So extreme temperatures, cold and heat, dissipate the antioxidant effect of it. So you want to keep it room temperature or cold. So these are other things that are very important factors. So yes, Dale, thank you for that added piece of information. Although there was some science one time, there was some scientists that did a presentation at the National Institutes of Health, and they presented a concept of electrolyzing water at the municipalities. So before it traveled from there to the homes, it engaged, went through electrolysis. I was glad somebody brought it up. Who knows? Maybe one day they'll consider it, and maybe they'll add an additional bit of purification to our water prior to us receiving it in our homes. Still, you want to have something at your tap, because it still has to travel through hundreds of miles of pipe to get to your personal sink. And even that pipe in your house or the apartment building or condominium that you live in, it's been there for a long time. When the building was built, you put the pipes in. If it's a 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old building, they didn't go through the walls and rip all that stuff out. It's a bit too much to do. Yeah, same thing with the streets. You can't rip up the streets every week to put new pipes down, right? People will think of something that will allow us to purify the pipes along the way. Maybe copper piping that kills bacteria, but it can't kill chemicals. We'll think of something, I'm sure. Humans, I guess it's a lot of. So once again, thank you all for your comments and your questions. And where was I here? I will get back to my caller who asked about the machines, and I'll get to you right after the call today. I'm so glad that you came to be with us here and learn about the Kangen machines. So ask one more time before we head out, and I'm glad to take a little extra time with these calls. If anyone has any other questions or comments, with those questions or comments, I'm glad, of course, always to take your questions, take your comments, respond to them, answer you, give you what you need so you understand the benefits of what Kangen water is. It's really why this call was started. Many people over the years had owned Kangen water machines, but they didn't understand the concept and the science behind the Kangen water machines. So very often, people were not always getting the greatest benefits out of that. Here on the Kangen water health and information call, we seek to explain what the machines are and what the Kangen water is as an antioxidant, so that when you use the water as an antioxidant substance, you will get the benefits of what the Kangen water is for the body. Sometimes people are freezing their water and drinking it, sometimes boiling their water and drinking it and not getting the health benefits, not realizing that you can't do that to water and have a benefit from it. So we had to remind them or teach them, let them understand what it really was that they were doing and where the benefit of the water was actually coming in. Now they could drink the water in a proper way and get the benefits. Sometimes you have to drink the water, 2 ounces of water in the morning when you first wake up, so you can get the benefits of detoxing when you first rise, and then doing something similar throughout the day, so your body can get what it needs for its full function and full benefit. People might not drink as much water as they need. In some cases, they might drink too high of the pH, and drinking too high of the pH of the water can maybe detox you more quickly than your body can handle at a time. People how to slow that down a bit. Come on down to the 8.5 though. It's not a race to the 9.5. It has to be where the water is best suited, so your body can get the benefits that it most needs. Remember, the Kangen water is an antioxidant. 8.5, 9.0, 9.5 denote a mild, mid-range, and high detox level. So you drink the water at the level that's best for your body to detox at, right? So there are many things we have to understand, and that's the reason why the call was created. So everyone has a place to come to learn more about them. Bring your family, bring your friends, invite those who want to know more about it. Use us as a resource. Certainly we'll remember to point people to those who invited them to the call if they want to buy a machine, so they can get the water from the machine from the people that they invited them. The general public otherwise come to see us, and we're happy to process an order for you as well. So thank you all for coming to the Kangen Water Health and Information Call. I'm going to put up our little banner, the one I like to use most often, and this is a nice little information banner. So that if you need to in the future with questions, even when we're not on the call, you can always get to us, and then of course get what you need for your answer. Yeah, and with that, there we go. Whoops. Back to my slide. Back to our main slide here that allows you to find us, reach us all around the world, ask us questions anytime we're not here during the week, and understand we're also going to update our schedule now, where we're going to be here every Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time USA, which is 6 p.m. in the United Kingdom. I believe that is 7 p.m. in Nigeria, and if you're coming from abroad, from Nigeria.